Welcome in to Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors, everything you need to know about your favorite team. Should the Seahawks sign a free agent, potentially, with options on defense? We'll dissect a couple players to keep in mind for your Seattle Seahawks. Also, a notable linebacker is making his return to the team. We'll tell you who that is. And who is wide receiver number one in Seattle? Is it DK Metcalf? Is it Tyler Lockett? We have some advanced analytics to get to that we will explain coming up in just a few moments from right now. Now, Seahawks fans, if you're someone that signs, if someone signs, you bet, well, break it down. If someone signs with the Seahawks, we're going to cover it here on Seahawks Today. So never miss a moment. Subscribe to the channel. Any of these free agents that we're talking about, for that matter, you're going to find out right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/SeahawksTV to never miss a moment. All right, the first free agent that we will discuss here is Benson Mayowa, a defensive end, and this is an interesting option for the Seahawks when it comes to the defensive line with Benson here. Here's a guy that previously played with the Seattle Seahawks the last 2 seasons. He had 30 tackles last year, including 1 sack and 3 tackles for loss. 2020, the year prior, had 24 tackles, 6 sacks, and 7 tackles for loss. And he's already had 2 stints with the Seahawks. Go back to 2013, numbers weren't so great there, but he could be somebody to keep in mind of maybe a reunion of some sorts. Granted, the defensive system is different now than what Benson played under when he was last in Seattle, but maybe it's an opportunity to bring him back to this team fresh after not playing so far this year. Somebody to keep in mind. The name I really like to keep in mind is Dont'a Hightower at the linebacker spot. Dont'a Hightower has had a very good career at this point in time. And you look at this Seahawks team, once you go beyond Jordan Brooks, there is a significant drop-off at the linebacker spot. They haven't gotten the production they want out of Cody Barton at this point in time. Last year, we saw Hightower finish with 64 tackles, a sack and a half back in 2020. He did not play. He opted out with that COVID year. But you look at this linebacker room, and I think Hightower is a guy that immediately gets into the rotation, and we see him get playing time right away. You see this group with Darrell Taylor, Jordan Brooks, Cody Barton, Uchenna Nwosu. I love what I've seen from Brooks, and I love what I've seen from Nwosu. But beyond that, there's some real question marks. And Hightower could be someone that I think would be a natural fit if you were to throw him in to this Seahawks linebacker room. So with that, we have a couple more names to get to in just a moment. But before we do, should the Seahawks sign someone for a playoff push? Look, here's the deal. I know some of you are going to say, why should they consider signing somebody when this roster's already looking like a playoff team as is? Well, it's your job as John Schneider and for Pete Carroll to put the best roster possible out there. And if there's somebody that can improve this team, they ought to consider it. So that's how I feel. What say you? Let me know in the comment section. Type S for sign, type P for pass if you think Seattle should sign somebody for this playoff push. Number 3 on the list is DeAndre Baker. And I know what you're thinking. Look, Trey Brown just got activated. And Sidney Jones, you cut just a couple of weeks ago. But this is, if you're looking for somebody when it comes to cornerback options, this is the best guy that's left. The former Kansas City Chief, his PFF grades back in 2021, an overall grade of 60, run defense grade of 67.8, pass rush grade of 60, and coverage grade of 56.9. For me, what I look at with Baker, it's not a guy that I'm signing tomorrow, but Baker is the first phone call I make if you're Seattle and something were to happen. If Trey Brown doesn't quite look right, if he's not 100%, or if there is an injury at the cornerback position to, God forbid, Tariq Woolen, Mike Jackson, Kobe Bryant, whatever it may be, DeAndre Baker's the guy I'm picking up the phone and saying, hey, we need somebody, get here now. DeAndre Baker would be the guy I consider to slide right in for that cornerback spot. And then there's Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson we've talked about on this program before. And Sheldon Richardson has had a very good career. The question just becomes, how much does he have left in the tank at this point? That remains to be seen, quite frankly. How much does he have left in the tank? And I don't know necessarily. You look at what he did last year with the Minnesota Vikings, finished with 39 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. And the last season that he had 5 sacks or more, you have to go all the way back to 2015. He did previously play for the Seahawks as well. Go back to 2017. He was there for a season, had 44 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. But just like what we mentioned with Benson earlier, the system is much different now that Sheldon Richardson would be walking into. So there's a few names to keep in mind if the Seahawks were to add to their defense potentially for this playoff push. Coming up next here on Seahawks Today is DK Metcalf, the Seahawks' number 1 receiver. Maybe not. We'll explain here in just one moment. Before we do, Seahawks Today is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. Makes for a great last-minute gift. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will be effectively next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance, depending on how many of you want to become a Lord or a Lady. We can build our little Seahawks Today kingdom together. In Established Titles is actually running a massive holiday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use the code CHAT, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and help support us here at Seattle Seahawks Today. Establishedtitles.com/chat to get that extra 10% off. Let's talk receiver now, and the folks at SBNation's Field Goals did a deep dive in breaking down Tyler Lockett versus DK Metcalf, and the numbers that they show that Tyler Lockett is the better receiver, at least right now anyway. Get this, according to analysis from FiveThirtyEight, that's Nate Silver and the gang there, Lockett is ranked as the 5th best receiver in the entire National Football League for 2022. DK on the other end, all the way down in 35th. So isn't that interesting to see, based on this year's statistics, how things have gone there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, DK got all that money. I mean, he's the future of the franchise. He's been really good the last few years. I get all that. I get what you may be thinking there as far as who is the future. But right now, Tyler Lockett's leading the way. And I know some of you are going to sit here and say, well, why not DK Metcalf here? What is necessarily going wrong with DK? And you look at his statistics, 48 catches, 581 yards, and 4 touchdowns. DK's played fine. Tyler Lockett's just played simply better at this point in time. Metcalf, I mean, I look at it this way. I like DK and I like Tyler Lockett. I don't think that there is a wrong answer to this equation here. Some people are going to throw a get pissy and sit here and be like, well, DK's that guy or Tyler Lockett's that guy. If you're the Seahawks, I wouldn't even call this a problem, but people will say it's a good problem to have. Both guys are really good. You look at the numbers from Tyler Lockett, 54 catches, 640 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 40-yard long here. I'm a fan of both players and think that both of them have been major assets to Geno Smith in making this offense work. You can call him 1A, 1B, whatever it may be. I don't quite care, quite frankly. To me, it doesn't matter who that number one receiver is between the two. The thing I look at is beyond these two that you get to that number three receiver and there's a significant drop-off. So these guys lead the way, whether you want to call one the number one receiver or the other the number two receiver. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me. They are the ones leading the way, and they both are assets and enjoy playing with each other. So with that said, here's what we want to do next here is we want to ask you a quick question. Who's the better receiver right now? Is it DK or is it Tyler Lockett? I won't judge you based on what your answer is. Like I said, I like both guys. I don't have a problem with either one of them being the number one receiver, however you may see it. If you think DK's better right now, type DK. If you think Tyler Lockett's better, type lock and add that lock symbol to it, the lock emoji on your keyboard as well. Whatever it may be, let me know in the comments section who's the better receiver right now. Is it DK or Tyler Lockett? Let me know. All right, quick update on Jon Rhattigan. It's been a while since we said his name. Rhattigan is returning to the Seahawks practice squad, finally healthy after what's been about almost a calendar year since the last time that we saw him play. Very good news for the Seahawks. We'll see if he can work his way onto the 53-man roster. But we mentioned earlier the Seahawks lacking depth at the linebacker spots at this point in time. I wouldn't rule it out if Jon Rhattigan can get up to speed and can clear things within that 21-day stretch of coming off the IR and PUP list. We could see very well that Rhattigan maybe end up on this 53-man roster and get some playing time before the season ends. Before we go, as always, you can follow me on social media at Tyler Jones Live on Twitter, Instagram, Tyler Jones Live as well, and Facebook. And I will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. Appreciate you joining us.